What's up, guys? Thanks for stopping by. Go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button if you too think that Joe Biden smells like Bigfoot's dick. Alright, so what are we talking about today? Well, I always like to take you all along for the ride whenever I find something new or cool or something that works good for me. It's 2023. We're moving into 2024 pretty quick, and I don't think you can say Recce rifle on YouTube anymore without catching some hate, but that's pretty much what it is. Designated marksman's rifle is essentially what it boils down to. So we'll break it down and go over some minor changes that I made, but essentially all the old school GWAT guys in the Marines rocking the 20-inch M16s with the ACOGs, it's going to be right up your alley because that's essentially what I built out. So, what is a designated marksman's rifle? Nowadays, it's essentially, you can take any podunk AR and slap a scope on it. And as long as the AR lends itself to being accurate, boom. You obviously, it's the force multiplier that you put on the top, as well as other variables like barrel length, the round that you're using. You're essentially fine-tuning your rifle to fit a specific niche for more precise and longer range engagements. So why is that something that you would get into, or why is that important? Well, based off of your environment, where you live, here in Texas, unless you live balls deep in the city, pretty much everything's wide open. So a CQB tailored rifle may not necessarily be the way to go. So most of the engagements that I would find myself getting into here, if something popped off, would be on the further end of the spectrum, where I'd need to reach out and poke something. But that being said, even if you don't have a build like this or something similar, or if you even don't even care to do it, if you are getting together with other individuals and training, not only should you be sharpening each other's skill sets, but you should also be looking at the individuals you train with like a squad. So maybe homie over here has an 18-inch or a 20-inch or 6 arc or 6.5 PRC, something like that. Well, homie's probably fitting to catch that DMR roll. So those are things that you need to be looking at. One of the other reasons why I would choose to carry, or at least have a DMR roll in my squad, in my crew, is the fact that obviously you can engage at longer distances. So what does that mean in a combat scenario? Well, breaking contact, bounding overwatch, breaking contact, that DMR guy can set up, and because he can poke further, what's the word I'm looking for? The range, the bigger gap you can create with your squad. And that works on the other end of that as well. So breaking contact or initiating contact, you can now initiate that sequence from a longer distance. So that paired with, if you live in the middle of West Texas and there's literally, you've never seen a tree in your entire life, that's something that you really want to get into and be proficient with. Now, this setup is pretty much the exact same that y'all have seen in multiple other videos, other than I ditched the tuberculosis. I ditched the scope that I was running. It was a 4x12. It was a good scope. but the fact that I run my red dot at the 12 o'clock for up close stuff, I had all this rail space and weight eaten up with a scope that I wasn't using 80% of its capabilities. The bottom end of the zoom, it was cranked all the way up, and then I ran the red dot, and I'm like, that's cool, that works. My magnification was pretty good, but for a doomsday end of the world scenario, I really don't have time, nor do I want to do the math in my head, dialing up and down with the scope and holds and all that, because it was the second focal plane, it wasn't first. First focal plane, yeah, you're good to go. So I opted for my 4-power Prismatic. It has the exact same BDC reticle that most ACOGs have, the chevron reticle with the BDC underneath it. So I've been using this quite a bit. I'm really enjoying it just because it's simple and it's a tank. So I really don't have to mess with anything for that. And then of course I've got my red dot on top. It's a tank, and they're both dialed in the way I like them. If you're running red dots, side note, if you're running red dots on top of your scope and they're up, I would say higher than like a standard Unity mount, like 226, 293, those GBRS height mounts. There's a channel called Delta 34, and he does zeros on really, really high mounts like that. So for this, I run a 75-yard zero on the red dot, and then a 100-yard zero for the Prismatic. And then on my other rig, it's a lower 1/3, I run a 36-yard zero on that. So the distance from your optic center line to your bore, center of bore, will affect at range. So you can't necessarily run your favorite zero when your optic height changes. But what we're going to do now is a breaking contact drill. We're going to go out on the 100-yard line, and basically I'm going to start laying down up close, break contact with the red dot, and then I'm going to sprint probably 20-25 yards, drop down, take some shots from inconvenient positions, whatever terrain pops up. I've gotten to where I really like doing this because it's what you're going to see in the real world. It's not flat range, hiding behind barrels type stuff. So obviously it'll be edited because I'm out here by myself, so it's not going to all be done in one take, but bear with me, you'll get the point of it. But I really enjoy this drill, and it's maybe something that you can do next time you go out. Guys, drills like this are a lot of fun. They help you shake out stuff in your kit. You get a hell of a workout, especially when you have a cold like I do. It's probably COVID. Hey guys, another helpful tip. You can't get COVID if you don't get tested. So, just so you know that. No, this drill is super awesome, especially if you have other people that you can do it with, because then you can practice bounding back, breaking contact, taking turns, bounding like that. You just gotta communicate really good, especially if you're channeled up like I was in that creek. That's the only spot I got. Going off of the topic of DMR and me switching to the fixed optic 4-power, it's just like your standard ACOG, and that entire time doing that drill, as multiple times I did for all that, I enjoyed it. It was way easier than trying to dial in and out of a scope. So to get your holds correctly, you got to be dialed all the way in, and a couple of those shots that I wanted to be as precise as possible, dialed into 12 or 14, I'm gonna sit there and look for my target for forever. So that's why I went with this setup. That's why I went simple and easy. It's fixed, nothing changes, and then the further out I go, I just start using that BDC. So I guess conclusion of all this, guys, do what you're interested in, do what you're passionate about, train. And all these fads on the internet about how Recce got super popular, and then of course the people that think they're Billy badasses, they start slut shaming everybody that starts building Recce's. Bro, did you even Recce? Blah blah blah. Like, fuck those dudes. Do you, boo boo? Because at the end of the day, you could have a Navy SEAL come out of his house when doo-doo hits the fan, and if he ain't in tippy-top shape paying attention, he might get his cheeks clapped by some waifu AK. So you never know. Guys, thanks for stopping by. Stay pissed. Always push back.